In our prior segment, we left off with Steve Hason's story. Do you think this will be less likely to occur today? Dr. Margaret Singer of the University of California, Berkeley, specializes in cult research. She estimates that there are at least 2,500 cults currently existing in the U.S. A cult is defined as a group of people who share a common ideological system fostered by a charismatic leader. They may or may not live together as a community. Now, not all cults are harmful. The three strongest warning signs of a harmful cult are any of these characteristics. To help you remember them, you can think CLT, cult. Okay, so the first one, C, stands for connections. Outside connections are discouraged. So relationships with friends or family outside of the group. L stands for leader, an authoritarian leader. That's somebody who can make decisions unilaterally. And then the T stands for theology. And in this particular case, an exclusive theology. So the belief that theirs is the only one that is the truth. So what is their modus operandi, the MO of cults? How do they operate? And there are a few main strategies here. So we're going to look at four of them. And the first one being they tend to play on the need to belong and existential needs like the desire to be part of a bigger cause. Number two, they tend to engage in mind control techniques. And these may include chanting, repetition, lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, even the use of drugs. Next, they tend to escalate their demands on members. So they start slow, but if you want to rise to this position in the group, then you have to do something more. Working all your way up to giving up your money to the group and so on. So they start more subtle and then they escalate those demands over time. And then finally, they tend to engage in subtle threats. This is an interesting one because they encourage their members to share their secrets in a safe and you're forgiven environment. But then they let you know in very subtle ways that they can use this information to hurt you. Victims' most common symptoms are strikingly similar to those who suffer from temporal lobe epilepsy. So irritability would be one, loss of libido is another, loss of sense of humor, and heightened paranoia. Again, they're strikingly similar to those who experience temporal lobe epilepsy. Now make sure that you didn't miss a study sheet on attribution errors. The first four in particular can be hard to tease apart. Now, if you have no difficulty with these, no worries. But if you aren't confident, there was a study sheet posted for you with this learning path assignment on attribution errors. Okay, so let's explore some other topics in psychology. Visualize this demo step by step, just as if we did it in the classroom. Know that there may be a test question on this particular class demo. Imagine that you were told to read a paragraph at the beginning of class, and then were asked to put it away. Here it is. Here's the paragraph. Go ahead, pause the screen to read it, and then resume this video again. Imagine that later in the lecture, I ask you to raise your hand if you read a paragraph about a card game at the beginning of the class. So you raise your hand along with half of the class. Next, I ask if you read about a musical recital, and the other half of our class raises their hands. However, you then find out that everyone read the same paragraph. So what would cause half of the class to interpret it differently than the other half? And that would be framing effects, how they were titled. Your paragraph is titled The Card Game, but the other half of the class got the same paragraph, but titled The Musical Recital. So this is called framing effects. We can affect how information is interpreted by how we frame it. Pretty cool demo, right? How you frame an argument determines who will listen further, give it the time of day, and can even influence how it is interpreted.